There is a universal kind of peace that washes over you when you see that little green battery icon sitting perfectly at 100%. But that comforting number is a trap. It is an illusion that is quietly destroying the hardware inside your device. We call this the 100% lie. Phone manufacturers intentionally default their settings to maximize how long your phone stays powered on today, completely sacrificing the long-term survival of the physical battery component in the process. By obsessively charging your device to hit maximum capacity, you are executing the exact consumer habit that guarantees your battery will die an early death. To understand why a full charge is so destructive, we have to look at the invisible force wearing down lithium-ion cells: chemical stress. This diagram shows exactly what happens inside your battery cell during a charge cycle. When you push your device toward full or empty, you forcefully cram charged particles into extreme opposite ends. Pushing past 80% is identical to continuously pumping a tire until it's stretched to the absolute verge of bursting. Forcing electrons to sit in this highly pressurized state physically degrades the materials. It creates microscopic, irreversible tears in the battery's internal chemistry. Every time you insist on filling your phone up to the absolute top, you are making a permanent trade, permanently damaging the hardware for maybe 20 extra minutes of daily screen time. If we want the hardware to survive, we have to step out of that extreme pressure zone and create a strict boundary. This brings us to the 20-80 rule. It is the optimal operating environment for keeping any lithium-ion device intact. By ensuring your battery strictly stays between 20 and 80%, the internal voltage remains stable. You completely neutralize that violent chemical stress tearing at the cell walls. Look at this chart comparing battery degradation over time. The steep, sharp drop is what happens to users who run standard 0 to 100% cycles. But restricting the charge heavily flattens the degradation curve, keeping the battery healthy for years longer. Maximizing your battery's total lifespan over the years requires actively restricting how much power you let it consume on a daily basis. You might be thinking your phone already handles this. Both Apple and Android include a toggle in their settings called optimized battery charging. But that factory software is entirely too passive. It tries to guess your sleep schedule to pause the intake, but it almost always caves and forces the battery to a dangerous 100% right before you wake up. Tech professionals don't leave this to an algorithm's guesswork. They implement a custom automation shortcut that links to a smart plug, physically cutting the electrical current the precise second the phone hits 80%. Trusting automated factory settings leaves your hardware vulnerable. True longevity requires you to intervene and sever the power source yourself. But mastering your digital charging percentages is still only half the battle. The other invisible threat rotting your hardware is thermal buildup. Pushing electricity into a battery generates a massive amount of friction and heat, and practically every phone on Earth is wrapped in a thick, rubberized, insulating shell that completely traps that heat against the glass. Baking your lithium-ion cells while they are already under the stress of taking a charge cooks the internal chemistry. Trapping that thermal energy accelerates battery degradation exponentially faster than the 100% lie. You have to stop treating your phone like a static metal gas tank that you simply fill up and seal shut. The battery is a highly reactive chemical environment. It operates much more like a living lung. If you actually want to triple the lifespan of your device, you need to stop suffocating it. Rip the case off when you plug it in, enforce the 20 to 80% boundary, and take active control over your hardware. When you pull a new piece of tech out of the box, the factory settings are calibrated for immediate convenience. Manufacturers want you to use the device right away, which often requires sacrificing the long-term survival of the hardware itself. The most common example is the heavily marketed fast charging feature. Those high-wattage bricks are designed to force-feed energy into a battery cell much faster than the materials can naturally absorb it. This animated diagram shows a microscopic cross-section of a battery's internal grid. When you flood the structure with rapid high-voltage electricity, the internal temperature spikes and microscopic stress fractures begin to form across the chemical lattice. You get a fully charged phone in 30 minutes, but those microcracks permanently reduce the amount of power the battery can hold. That daily speed boost is paid for directly with the total lifespan of the device. The workaround is entirely counterintuitive, intentionally reverting to an older, low-wattage charging brick, like the standard 5-watt adapters from a decade ago. A low-wattage charge pushes power slowly, which eliminates thermal stress. The battery remains cool, and the chemical structure stays completely stable as it fills up over an 8-hour period. This interface displays what we call the night cycle cheat code. By intentionally using a slow charger while you sleep, that flat, stable voltage line keeps the battery in a safe thermal zone for the entire duration of the charge. Treating your overnight charge as a deliberate, slow trickle protects the physical structure of the battery. You wake up at 100% without degrading the hardware foundation. Physical charging habits dictate how well a battery holds power, but invisible software operations dictate how quickly that power leaks out. Most devices are populated by ghost apps. These are applications that continue to actively compute, process data, and drain power even when the device is locked and the screen is completely black. This data flow diagram illustrates exactly how these apps operate in the background. Social media applications are constantly phoning home, pinging external server nodes to download fresh content so your feed is instantly ready the second you unlock the screen. The standard low power mode rarely stops this behavior. To shut it down, you have to dig deeper into the settings and perform a background refresh lockdown, manually revoking the permission for these apps to run while minimized. This before and after bar chart compares daily energy efficiency. Cutting off that silent server communication reclaims an enormous amount of wasted power, frequently adding an additional 2 hours of actual screen time to your day. Taking granular, manual control over your app permissions directly converts stolen background energy into usable daily stamina. There is one final vulnerability to address, and it sits at the absolute chemical boundaries of the battery cell itself. Depth of discharge measures how far a battery is drained relative to its total capacity. When a lithium-ion battery is pushed to its absolute limit, completely hitting zero, modern operating systems now include a hidden 80% limit toggle deep in the battery settings, designed specifically to automate this exact mathematical boundary. Confining your daily power cycle strictly between 20 and 80% completely insulates the battery from the extreme chemical states that cause permanent degradation. Slowing down the overnight charge, locking out the ghost apps, and respecting the chemical boundaries breaks the cycle. You bypass the factory defaults that were actively degrading the hardware. Technology is a functional tool. It is meant to serve your life, not operate as a demanding system that dictates your daily behavior. Stop acting subservient to the charging cycle. Your tech should work for you, not the other way around. Don't be a slave to the charger. Subscribe to Hactually. More life, less work. Let's go.